Watford 1, Wolves 2. Feels a little bit like redemption, a little bit like that we avenged the defeat at Wembley a little bit, because now we're in pole position for 7th place, and if we beat Fulham next week, we've confirmed it, and it's fantastic for a team that's newly promoted. I think you have to sort of keep reminding yourselves that we are that team that's newly promoted, because we've played like a seasoned Premier League team throughout this whole season. We've been comfortable in lots of games. We've beaten teams that we shouldn't have beaten, and you just have to think what could have been this season if we'd have just picked up those points against teams like Huddersfield and Brighton, Burnley away, and a couple of other games where we've been disappointing recently. But I think it's been difficult for the players since the semi-final. They haven't openly said it, but it must have been. It's been difficult for us as fans to keep going and to be up for every game, but we've certainly got better. The Brighton game last week, look at the result that they've picked up tonight. Last week against Tottenham, they were clearly on a mission to stay up, and they came to get a point, and they did that. And we weren't able to take our chances that game. Arsenal and tonight, we've been great, and we've deservedly picked up 3 points today. And Watford were really poor, and part of me was so frustrated all through the game because De La Feo didn't play well. Watford didn't play well at all, really. A little bit similar to the first hour at Wembley, where they didn't make any chances at all. They didn't make any chances at all today, the whole game. We gifted them the goal. Ryan Bennett will be kicking himself just after this morning, putting up that video saying that he was our unsung hero of the season. However, a bit of lapse in concentration. I suppose we can forgive them that. It's been a long season, and mistakes like that do happen. Bennett's been superb. He'd be disappointed with the way that he conceded the goal today. But yeah, I can't really pick out one person who performed well today. I think everybody chipped in. It was a real good team performance. Of course, the usual João Moutinho and Jota and Neves and all them lot were superb. But Jimenez, I think, has been struggling a little bit recently after his the criticism that he received after the semi-final, and again a little bit of redemption for him to score. Apparently, he had his mask with him and told the staff to put it behind the goal, but they forgot to do it. And I think in a way, perhaps probably the best thing to do to not put it out, because I think it would have caused some trouble. There were reports of trouble before the game. Another standout performer for me was Ruben Neves. I was very critical of him last week at Brighton, and before that at Southampton. I thought he'd had 2 very ordinary games. He came back to form on Wednesday night against Arsenal, scoring that free kick, and then his assist for the second goal for Jota today was absolutely superb. Really, really awkward ball to deal with it, and it gave everybody great delight to see Ben Foster flapping and struggling underneath that ball. He didn't have a clue what to do with it, whether to come or go, and in the end left Jota in acres and acres of space, and it was a well-taken finish. You have to think, it was only a couple of years ago that somebody like Joe Mason or Bodvarsson or Lafondra would have been on the end of that, and it would have been blazed into the end of the back of the stand. Jota, really, really cool finish, really calm finish, and delighted for him. I mean, he's into double figures now for the season. Jimenez goes past Stephen Fletcher's record as well, being the top scorer in the Premier League in a single season for Wolves. All these little milestones are great, and we're building to something special. And I really do hope that we get European football next year. I think it'd be fantastic for the city and for the people. There's people who have never shown any interest in Wolves whatsoever are suddenly starting to realise that for the town that it's a massive, massive thing, and hopefully we can do it. I believe that we can, and I believe it's a good thing. Obviously, we're relying on Manchester City as well, but I think Wolves will. It's a good game for Wolves to take on next week at Fulham, because Fulham have suddenly become a good team. They've won again today against Cardiff. They're on a decent roll. They've got nothing to play for, so they might throw players forward and we can catch them on the break. But we have to be careful that we don't slip up, because we won't get anything at Anfield, I don't think. I'm saying that now, but I do secretly think that we will get something. And also we can sort of do a little deal with Man City, can't we? If we do them a favour, they could do us a favour the following week. I was also very, very disappointed to not receive any banter at all about the FA Cup from Watford. Bar one man at the back of the stand to our left, who held up a scarf. Every time we started chanting, he just held up a scarf that said FA Cup final on it. if the roles were reversed and we'd have beaten Watford on that day, they would not have heard the end of it. It would have been constant Que Sera, Sera. Apparently they played Que Sera, Sera, we're going to Wembley, whatever, at the end of the PA system. But we were too busy singing to Ben Foster to even realise. So I've said it before on the Talking Wolves podcast. Watford are a small club. They're a small-minded club. Wolves are a huge giant. Yes, fair play. They beat us the other week and they'll go into a cup final. And I'm jealous of that. They've secured themselves in the Premier League over the last 4 or 5 years. Great. But we are going to surpass them very, very quickly, I have no doubt. And I can't wait now for the transfer window to start. I can't wait for the Fulham. I can't wait for Liverpool. But part of me is very, very sad that this season is ending. Usually, when it comes to this time of year and the cricket season starting, I'm a keen club cricketer. And I just start thinking, well, I'm glad football's finishing now because it's cricket. But this season, I don't want it to end. I want it to keep on going and going and going forever. And hopefully, with how things will go in the summer and with how we'll start next season, I think it would be worthwhile. And we might not even have that long to wait if we start playing Europa League football at the end of July. I think the 25th of July is the first Thursday of the Europa League. So it might only be 6 weeks or so that we're not seeing any Wolves football. But anyway, thank you very much for watching. I don't think this has been a particularly good video, a bit rambly. Thank you to everybody on Coach 2 who recognised me. Hello. I've had a lovely day. A little bit of redemption. Still annoying that we couldn't have done that at Wembley, but never mind. Thank you very much for watching over the last week or so. Back to work for me on Monday, I'm afraid. There's a video up tomorrow talking about my favourite home moments of the season. That's up at 10 o'clock AM, which is premiering, so you can watch it live with me if you like. And I'll see you very, very soon. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, put the bell on, etc. Cheers, boys. Bye.